And we're live. Good morning. Welcome to the show, Coffee Time with Torossian CPA. I hope you like the music. I know I promise I'm going to put something else next time, and I will find something, I promise. All right. Good morning. Good morning to our viewers and our listeners. If you are returning to the show, welcome back. If you're new, give us a thumbs up or a hands up in the chat so we know you're new, and we welcome you with open arms. We go live every Thursday at 10 a.m. Eastern on Facebook, LinkedIn and YouTube. So I really encourage you to go ahead and subscribe to the channel that you are watching us on. Subscribe, like. Also, don't forget to share so that everyone else, in your network can also learn from us as well. I am your host, Marie Torossian. I'm a CFO, an auditor, a certified public accountant, and a chartered global management accountant. I'm using my proprietary methodology, Valuation MT, to help business owners that reach their first million to 10x their profits. And I just recently, finished up an e-course, and that's available on my website, www.theprofitLab.biz/programs. And I'm also a Grant Cardone licensee, and I coach businesses in sales, marketing, and money mindset. And I have different programs available to you guys, and you can find that on www.theprofitlab.biz/plans-pricing. I'm author of 2 books, The Complete Guide to Business Growth and The Business Owner's Guide to Operational Accounting. And you can purchase those books, on www.theprofitlab.biz/shop. So everything is on the website available to you. Yep. And I want to invite you guys to some of the free webinars we're having. And we have one coming up on mindset and debt management. And I'm bringing a guest trainer, my friend and fellow accountant, Sydney Woods. That's happening next Wednesday. So check it out. And I'm also, of course, we're going to have a very special webinar called the Tax Smart Strategies for Real Estate Professionals. And that will be, we will have a very, very special guest, yours truly. You all know him, my friend and colleague and my weekly guest on the show, Pedro Gonzalez, CPA. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Yes, I'm actually quite excited. You know, I'm very passionate about real estate, and
yes.
I'll get going, but I know I'll be limited in the amount of time that I have. You already told me, Pedro, you only have, but it's going to be a good one. It's going to be a really good one. I encourage people that are really serious about either getting into real estate or already involved in real estate to join. You're going to get some good information, more than typically you get through Google or something like that. You're going to actually get some really good strategies in there that will make a big difference by taking that time and joining us in this webinar, August 5th.
August 5th. Yeah. Yes. And you can sign up to all of our webinars available on www.theprofitlab.biz/events. And by the way, guys, I just wanted to point out that this is how partnerships and collaborations work. This is how it looks like. So if you've ever thought of that, hey, I can't partner up, or we're showing you right here. This is how you partner up, collaborate, and provide value to your clients. And that's why we're doing it. So with that, before we start with the main key points we're going to talk about today, I just wanted to do a quick reference on some of the episodes we've had in the past. We've talked about tax forms, let's say the 1099, 1096. We've talked about IRS audits, financial audits. We've talked about time management. We talked about discipline. We have talked about so many important things. And especially last week, we talked about the difference in taxation between regular partnership, limited partnership, and LLC. So if you just go back and check out some of those episodes, you'll be able to find a lot of valuable information that we're talking every Thursday, 10 a.m. Eastern. So with that, today's key subject is going to be about ethics. Exciting, isn't it? I know most people.
It's a good topic, and actually, the way that you're gonna go about it is gonna be good.
We're gonna make it exciting. Yes. We're committed to making it exciting. So we want to talk about ethics because we want to explain to our viewers and our listeners that how ethical standards are at the core of our industry, CPAs. There's certain key things that we have to go through to be able to get that CPA license, and that's why we are very proud. So we are committed to our ethical standards and the code of conduct. So with that, we wanted to kind of expand on some of that information. So whether your accountant, CPA, tax preparer, whoever it is, whether they are actually following any kind of ethical code of conduct.
Right.
So with that, let's get started. So I wanted to kind of briefly go over the main code of professional conduct that we follow, Pedro. It's in the U.S., because we're in the U.S., that's what we're talking about, not the other ones. But in the U.S., we mainly follow the American Institute of CPAs. And in some cases, if we are working internationally, then we would also follow the international ethical standards. So with that, one of the first ones is, professional behavior. So do you have any comments on that we can kind of expand a little bit of some of the 5 key, points that we have under ethical code of conduct?
I think that the professional behavior, I think that is pretty clear as far as our relationship with our clients,
Mm-hmm.
and maintaining that professionalism, and then the delivery of the product,
Mm-hmm.
delivering of the services to our clients. I mean, we have to make a very clear line that where our roles in the relationship.
Yes.
It goes I think it's pretty clear, and it goes along with many other professions, to be professional in the delivery of the product.
Absolutely. Yes, it's definitely important for us to distinguish ourselves all the time that we are being professional. We are doing our jobs in a professional manner. We're handling our clients and the services that we're providing in a professional manner. So the second key point in the ethical code of conduct that we have to abide by is integrity, and this is something I believe that it's not teachable. You don't. You either have integrity or you don't, because
Or you don't.
whether you're a CPA, you're a real estate agent, you're handling any job. Integrity is integrity. You have to do your job well, right? Don't you agree?
Right. No, I agree. Like you said, this is a hard one because it's not something that I think, like you said, you either have it or don't have it. I think what happens, when you look at, for example, the word, about integrity. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it's that quality that you're looking for as a whole. Kind of a wholeness of the individual and being incorruptible, basically.
Yeah.
And so,
Yes.
so with that said, I mean, I understand that I think what happens is that you can help your clients achieve their goals. And I have said in here many times, and I tell people, to think like the box does not exist. Now, that does not mean to be unethical. Is to explore to what extent we can achieve certain goals within the parameters that do exist. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
Right.
there's ways to do that. To, in essence, you hear references to push the envelope and things like that. It can be done, and
Right.
still you still following the code of ethics,
Yes.
and you'll be following your integrity as long as you're not in violation. In essence, you are collaborating or enticing this individual to engage on something that is known to be illegal. I mean, you're
Right.
breaking the law with
Right.
it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Anytime we find out, from a client that is doing something illegal, has, funds somewhere on, that nobody knows about, and we find out about it, we have to, hold down to our integrity and just refuse to work with that
Right.
client. And, it's just, we have to follow our code of professional conduct. So
Correct.
just if you are one of those, pay attention here, and try not to do anything illegal. So, and if you're gonna decide to work with us, just know that we are gonna follow the professional code of conduct always. Okay, so the third point in this area that we have to follow is the objectivity feature, which is kind of hard because sometimes you're in a position where you're like, well, it's not that bad, or so it's hard to stay objective, right? But we have to do it. We have to find that objective standpoint in every situation.
Mhm. Yeah, you have to, within objectivity, you have to your and again, this is the main reason why the 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 industry looks for CPAs. I mean, as long as you follow those standards, your opinion becomes valuable. That's what gives value to your opinion, is your integrity, your objectivity, your professional behavior, and so on. Because then in the end, when you deliver your opinion, then it has
Mhm.
value, it has weight.
Yes.
Now, objectivity, yes, it is challenging, but it is important, because when you deliver your opinion, you cannot be impaired in any way or motivated in any way. So when you're delivering your conclusions, are not motivated by something else. You know what I
Right.
mean? Either a
Right.
financial gain or something like that, that would, in essence, cloud or in essence, muddy that opinion. I mean, that opinion at that point is of no value.
Right, right, absolutely, absolutely. And I see that we're getting a lot of loves and likes, so that's exciting. Thank you that you guys appreciate this type of conversation. And I know for most people, ethics conversation or classes or
Mhm.
anything like that, people are like, oh, this is boring, but it's not. It is really important, and truly, it's not something technically teachable, but we do need to emphasize how important it is, and not just in the CPA world, but in every person's life. You're either ethical or you're not, but in our industry we do need to follow this to the T, so to keep our licenses active. So okay, so the next one is professional competence and due care. And I think
Mhm.
this is where, between
Yeah,
audit and tax, there's
yeah,
just so much to
so
do from
much.
the due
Exactly.
care. I mean, and especially I'm going to let you cover on the tax side, but I know from the audit side, there's just so much support documents that we ask. And I know people go crazy about it. Like, why are you asking about this? Why are you asking? Why are you still digging? Why are you still questioning? Because we have to. It's part of our due diligence. This is our due care. This is what we have to do. It's part of our ethical conduct. We have to make sure that we are obtaining
Mhm.
all the information and supporting documents necessary for us to give an opinion. And otherwise, if we're not following the specific structure and doing what we have to do as part of our due diligence, then our opinion is not reliable. So, and I know if you can please expand on the tax side, because I know it's getting more and more expanded.
Yeah. No, in the same, same in the tax area, the there's a lot happening. I mean, that's why constantly there's new tax laws, tax changes. We got to keep up with that.
Hmm.
Um, but in addition to that, is like you said, the questions. I mean, I know sometimes
Yes.
clients get at times even irritated by the amount of questions that we ask, but that is the only way, one, that we can be of service to you, to help you in that discovery process, is how we can then add value to you. I mean, we might discover something that is deductible, for example, that you didn't know. but through that question, so the tax organizer that we send, that sometimes people think this is overwhelming, but I can assure you, listen, if you pay attention, you answer the questions, you go through our discovery interviews and all of that, it is beneficial. It's required. I mean, this is how we also ourselves as professionals gain a certain comfort level that when we're signing that tax return or those financial statements, that we have done our due diligence in the process. So
yes. And as part of the professional competence, that's basically us keeping track of our own learnings, right? So basically, we are required to, for example, in Florida, we are required to do 84 hours of CPE credits. And other states that might be about the same, similar, of which 4 is required, minimum required for ethics, 4 hours out of the 84. So with that said, I mean, it's very, very important that we keep our professional competence at the highest standard as always keep up with the CPE, all the nuances, so for example, if someone is in tax, they may actually focus more on the tax CPE and knowledge on that side. Someone in the audit area or attestation, they may focus more professional competence and that's the area. However, in general, whichever area of accounting or CPA, work that we are doing, we're going to continue to stay, top of what we have to learn and keep up. So, any other thoughts there, Pedro?
No, as far as the due diligence, I mean, that you as a client you should expect that that your CPA or your tax preparer is keeping up with the standards. See, the thing is that once you get the license and you put it on the wall, they assume that you are up to date. But how do you know? I mean, because it's not something that gets published. You don't put it on the wall next to your license, another sticker. Pedro obtained another CPE. So you ought to, how do the way that is also through the conversation you're having with your own CPAs. This that we're doing. I mean, how they're keeping up with the standards. I mean, do they write books? Do they put podcasts out there? How are they keeping up?
Yes.
So you as a client ought to ensure that your tax preparer or your accountant, whoever doing your accounting, is up to date.
Yes, absolutely. And then, of course, we do have to update our licenses, and we do need to, provide information to the state on, the required training we have done. Otherwise, if they catch us that we haven't done it, we can get fined, we can get imprisoned. So this is very serious, guys. When you're working with a true CPA that really takes their license very seriously, they're going to do what it takes, and then you can check on their the status of their license. So if you're very welcome to ask for the license, and then you can check that they are active on their state.
That's exactly, that is true. I mean, because I know in different professions, people have been caught with expired licenses. They no longer, maybe at one point they were a CPA, a doctor, an attorney, and somehow they're still practicing.
Yes.
I mean, here I'm using the word practice, but you know what I mean? That they still out there. Yeah, exactly. But they're out there still providing services, and they no longer have an active license.
Yes, and actually, I know in Florida, and I'm sure other states do similar, but in Florida, the state actually issues in their newsletter all the approved licenses or active license or the new licenses, but they also issue a list of all the licenses that were taken away or those who got fined or. So this is that's why I wanted to make sure we cover this subject, because we wanted to make sure you guys know that we are staying active on everything we have to do, and we are abiding by the Code of Professional Conduct by the AICPA. And then the last section of that is confidentiality, and that's making sure that, for example, we don't divulge any of the client information just to anybody. We cannot give any information out, and that's why sometimes Pedro, I find it really hard when you have to they say, well, you have to showcase your work, and we can try to come up with case studies and write up case studies, but technically we can't show the work we do on our clients. All we can do is talk about it in a very vague manner. So it's kind of different, when we're, let's say, And we say, oh, you're gonna, as a business, you can market yourself. Well, it's very difficult in a CPA world to do that, because all we can do is probably write a book, answer questions through a podcast or something like that. You go to live and put a few things on the out, because we actually can't divulge any client information. We can't tell you that we got X number of results for somebody. We just can't. We just can't get the word out. So there's certain limitations we have that we just can't do. We are not attorneys. We can't put a billboard out there. And I see this all the time. Such and such attorney got me $300 million. I don't know. We can't do stuff like that. We just can't. So I just wanted to point that out. And I don't know if you've had any other, notes on that. But for me, I see this kind of stuff out there. Let's say lawyers or attorneys, doctors, whatever they can do. But we can't do that kind of stuff. We can't divulge any information. So, any thoughts there?
No, I think you covered that pretty well. I mean, the confidentiality, all of this kind of comes together. You can be professional. You can have, and I guess the confidentiality is part of your integrity. You know what I mean? But is that notion that the information that you and I are discussing about my tax matters or my accounting matters, that when you're doing my bookkeeping or you're looking at doing a business plan or something like that, that information is not going to go outside. The other part is that even when you have multi-partner firms, I mean, one is the solo practitioner. Well, who is he or she going to talk to? But then you have staff members. What information that is being revealed to you, you share to your staff, and also how you educate your staff so that your staff is not the one divulging the information. That goes into another topic later, but in another discussion. But is how do you supervise and so on? The supervision requirements that we have and so on. So, confidentiality is critical, because this is how then I can be confident to talk to you, Marie, and reveal this information to you, so you can help me, because you follow these ethics, and you're not going to go and take this information. And even if you're collaborating with Pedro, you're not going to reveal to him what is not necessary. Now, there's certain information we have to disclose to our clients that, in order to work on certain projects, certain information has to be disclosed. In order to help. It's just the same happen with doctors. Doctors have to share certain medical information about you. Absolutely. So then another specialist can come in and take this information and provide that specific area that he or she has to do to help you with your medical condition. Attorneys have to do it at times. But again, it goes back to, what information and how you protect that information.
Right. Absolutely. And then from another point that just popped in, and I had that situation happen, is that we would only be forced to, I guess, divulge information if we get subpoenaed. So if there's a court order, we have no choice. All we can do is let you know that there's a court order to provide information. And if your attorney needs to do anything, whatever, then it's up to you. But we have to provide the information by the due date. So that we will let you know, and that is all we are required to do. And then with that, so then Pedro, it brings me to the question of, and I like the word, I had to take that word from you. So how do the fly-by-night, this is Pedro's word, I'm using it, fly-by-night tax preparers, what kind of code of conduct do you think they're following?
I think that the fly-by-night will tell you that's their code. But it applies to accounting, bookkeeping service. I have seen it all over, Marie. Business, quote unquote, business coaches, gurus that have nothing that binds them to providing quality services. That's why it's critical that you do, get to know who is this individual that is here to help you.
Yes.
You know what I mean? But those fly-by-night type of operations are not there to, they don't have the obligation. I mean, they should to provide a quality service, but they're not committing themselves to do that. And I think it translates, in many cases, translates into the fees that they're charging. I mean,
Yeah,
many
I was
times,
just yes,
I put a proposal and they say, oh, but so and so charges, substantially less. Okay, you
right.
gotta wonder why. You know what I mean? You have to wonder why
Yeah,
is it such a disparity.
yes,
So, and I'm sure you've gone through the same thing. You know what I mean? That you're putting together a proposal for either business plan, accounting, CFO services, and they come back telling you that so and so does it for substantially less.
yes,
Now you have
yes.
to ask yourself, as a business owner, what is it that you are investing?
Exactly.
What are you going to get in return? Do you want the tax preparer? Yes. I mean, you can go and get TurboTax and prepare your own returns. You can probably, there's many places that does car wash and tax return preparation. They'll do the tax return where the car wash is being happening. And, you
Yes,
see them around as you're driving. They do laundry and tax preparation. If that's what you want, and just be prepared. I mean, I cannot disclose much, but you and I were discussing some of the tax audits I'm representing. And when you
yes,
look at what is behind that, is the lack of documentation was done substantially inexpensive, and
right.
they obtain exactly what they pay for, and that is that there's no documentation, was poorly prepared, it
Yes.
caused red flags all over the place, it was an easy target for the IRS, and now they're under audit.
Hmm. Yeah.
And that's the price. Now the price is, now they gotta pay to correct all of that they thought that they saved. Now they're
Yes.
paying it on professional fees. How many times you see, from the legal perspective, we tell people, hire an attorney, get the documents done properly. But there is an investment. Yes, but the contracts are done properly. How many times we have seen, for example, using attorneys as an example, that when you go to court, the
Hmm.
document's invalid or something like that. And so,
Yeah.
you end up paying substantially more at the end through court fees and so on. The same happens in here.
Yes.
I mean, that they end up, what they thought they saved, it goes down the drain in either other fees
Absolutely.
later to correct it.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So, and what brought me to mind is that one of one of our prospects, right? We were working on, and how after reviewing some of their prior year taxes, and you noticed some stuff, and you brought it to his attention, and then he didn't have an answer. The accountant, wanted to speak with us, and never spoke to us. And I mean, and then the gentleman needs the help, needs the service, and we are kind of like, well, we have nothing to rely on here. Like, we can't even have a conversation, and this is stuff that we're seeing constantly, where obviously they have these type of people are not following any kind of a ethical conduct. So here we go. So you guys, you want to save yourself hassle, headache, and unnecessary cost down the line. Might as well pay the higher fee now, hire someone with high ethical standards, get it done right the first time. We say it all the time, get it done right the first time. So one last thing I wanted to cover, and I know we're getting close to the 30-minute mark, but recently there was in the news a very big story, and I'm sure many people have heard it, but I really want to touch up on it very, very briefly. Ernst & Young, which is one of the big four, accounting, tax, whatever firms, and they're supposed to be one of those that every one of us, the smaller firms, kind of look up to. Were recently fined $100 million by the SEC because they were unethically providing the answers to the questions on the ethical part of the exams. So by the way, guys, the CPA exam has 4 sections. Regulation, which mostly takes into consideration business law and taxes, of which 10 to 20% is ethics related questions. Then there's the auditing and attestation, and that one has about 15 to 25% on ethical related questions. And there's the financial accounting and reporting section, and then business environment and concept. So the fact that a big firm like that would get themselves into a situation like that, it just makes me sad. I just wanted to bring that up, saying that it's very sad to see that they would take that kind of action. I'm hoping that it's a lesson to everyone else. All those fly-by-nighters can see that if a big company like that can actually get fined, they should really think about, what could happen, to them as well. So just wanted to show our listeners and our viewers that how committed we are to keeping our ethical standards and following the ethical code of conduct. Any thoughts on that, Pedro?
Well, no, not much. I mean, I think what you covered is it is unfortunate, but I hope that we can all take and I know they're doing their corrective action, and that's good. I give them
Yes.
kudos on that. I think that shows that there's going to be corrections done. I think that's the I guess within everything that's positive, and we can all learn from that.
Yes.
The importance to keep all those standards up to date.
Yes. And I think it's important to never put income or revenue or anything that is making things gray. This is where integrity we talked about, right? So, never let that, diminish what your standards are. Because then now I think they're going to have a very hard time, clearing their name. And your name is what makes you who you are. So in every business, your name, your brand name, everything stands out, and this is going to make it very look bad for them. So, and I hope with the corrective action, they can, do that. So with that, I think we're at the end of the show. Again, we just wanted to show you guys that we are very committed to being ethical CPAs, following our ethical code of conduct by the AICPA. So if you're working with us, that you can make sure that we are going to follow all the ethical standards that are we are expected to. So with that, I want to leave you guys with a quote from a motivational speaker, Jim Rohn. You are the average of the 5 people you spend most time with. I hope that the two of us are two of us. Wait, two of us are 2 of the 5 people you are spending your time with to learn and grow your business. And with that, until the next episode, everyone, I hope you have a wonderful and blessed rest of your week. See you next week.
Next week.